I'm Miss Hall, and this is Lesson 3, Modeling with Linear Equations. In this lesson, we're going to have real-life situations that we're going to have to write a linear equation to model the situation. Now, the course concept here is that there are a couple of ways to find the linear equation. One method is if you're given a slope and a y-intercept, then you can use slope-intercept form. A second method, if you're given the slope m and a point, you could use point-slope form. And the third option is if you're given 2 points, you can first use the slope formula to find m, and then use point-slope form with either given point. We're going to focus on slope-intercept form. It is the one that I tend to use most often, and you can solve any problem using slope-intercept form. Let me remind you in slope-intercept form that m is the slope, and the slope is the rate of change. And another way to describe slope is to say slope is the change in y over the change in x. That triangle is Greek for delta, and that's the change in y over the change in x. B is the y-intercept. And in these real-world problems, that y-intercept is the initial amount or original amount or starting amount. And I'm going to bring all of these problems in this lesson back to slope-intercept form. Example 1, writing a linear equation from a graph. The graph shows the distance asteroid 2012 DA14 travels in x seconds. Write an equation of a line and interpret the slope. The asteroid came within 17,200 miles of the Earth in February 2013. About how long does it take the asteroid to travel that distance? Split this into 2 parts. The first part is to write the equation of the line and interpret the slope. Okay, so the equation of the line, I prefer slope-intercept form. Let's find the slope first. So the slope is the change in y over the change in x. If I made a little table of x, y values of this graph, we can see that we have 0, 0, and 5, 24. So the change in y's, we can subtract the y's. 24 minus 0 over change in x, subtract the x's, 5 minus 0 equals 24 over 5, which is 4.8. Okay, we found m. B is the y-intercept. You can see in this graph the y-intercept is 0. So our equation of this line is y equals 4.8 x plus 0. I don't need to write that plus 0. There's the equation of the line. Interpret the slope. Okay, the slope is 4.8, and the slope is the change in y. And let me look along the y-axis. That is miles over the change in x. The x-axis is seconds. So I just used the units for y and x. So that this asteroid travels at 4.8 miles per second. Second part, the asteroid came within 17,200 miles. Well, how long does it take the asteroid to travel that distance? So it gave me information in miles. Miles is my y. So I was given 17,200 miles, and I'm supposed to find the x value, which is the seconds, how many seconds it took. So I'll use my equation, and I have y equals 4.8x. I know what y is. Y is 17,200 equals 4.8x. To get x by itself, I divide both sides by 4.8, and I get that x is approximately 3,583 seconds. I used a calculator to get that value. That's a lot of seconds. So if I divide it by 60 seconds to figure out how many minutes, it is 59.79 minutes. And 59 plus minutes is basically approximately 1 hour. So I'm going to say that it took the asteroid about 1 hour to travel that distance. Example 2. 2 prom venues charge a rental fee plus a fee per student. The table shows the total costs for different numbers of students at Lakeside Inn. The total cost y in dollars for x students at Sunview Resort is represented by the equation y equals 10x plus 600. Which venue charges less per student? 1. And how many students must attend for the total cost to be the same? Okay, which venue charges less per student? So we have the initial amount, the y-intercept value here is 600. So that's the rental fee, right? They charge a rental fee. So this is the rental fee plus the fee per student, which is our rate. So Sunview Resort charges $10 per student. Now we have to use the table to find the equation for Lakeside Inn. So for the equation, my goal is to get it in y equals mx plus b form. To find the slope, I'll take the change in y over the change in x. I can use any 2 pairs of points from this table. I choose the first two, so I have 18,000 minus, 1,800 minus 15,000 over 125 minus 100. This is 300 over 25, which is 12. Why don't I just put the units here? The y value is the cost, so in dollars, and the x value is the number of students. So it is $12 per student. Now to find the b value, this is not as straightforward because I don't see a y-intercept, but what I can choose is I know m, I know an x and y pair. I actually know several x and y pairs. I'll just pick one of them. Which one did I pick? When I did the problem, before I picked this one. So I can fill in, this is my y, this is my x, I have my m. So we have 2,700 equals 12 times 200 plus b. And I can solve for b. Just again, I got my m value from my calculation. I got the x value from the ordered pair I chose in the table, the y value from the table. So now I have 2,700 equals 2,400 plus b, 300 equals b, and I have the equation finally for Lakeside Inn. Y equals 12x plus 300. So 300 is the rental fee, and $12 is the cost per student. So which venue charges less per student? Well, it's 10 versus $12. Therefore, the $10 is less. So I'm going to write Sunview Resort. I'm just going to put an SR over that question. How many students must attend for the total cost to be the same? To figure that out, we're going to set these two equations equal to each other. And we have 10x plus 600 equals 12x plus 300. Get all the x's to one side by subtracting 10x from both sides. You get 2x equals, get the 300 on the other side by subtracting 300, 300. Divide both sides by 2. You get 150 equals x. X is students, so we take 150 students for the total costs to be the same.